Hi everyone, it is Zoe here from Zoe's Pixels, and I thought that I would share with you how I plan to edit this image. This is Lexi, and I photographed her a bit over a week ago, about a week and a half ago, and her mummy has just come back to me and told me which ones were her favorites, so I'm now going to stylize them in the style that she chose. I gave her, I think, 3 different styles that she could choose from, and she selected a beautiful warm sort of style. I've actually just finished editing this image, which had a very similar background, and so this is essentially the result that we're going to be looking to achieve on this image. So I'm going to show you how I would go thinking about it. So to begin with, this little area over here is a little bit dark compared to this side, and we've got this log hanging out the side here as well. It's a little bit messy in the foreground here with a lot of leaf matter. I don't want to remove all the leaves because it would start to look too fake, but we're just going to remove the sections that sort of, I guess, stand out and go from there. But the main thing is, the particular track that we were on was sort of a bit on a curve, and so she sort of started up here and came running around towards me here, so we haven't got a straight horizon. And I think sometimes when you have a background like this, it can look a bit weird not having a straight horizon like this. So we are going to turn this into this. So okay, I want to show you how cute she looks. I actually captured this on the 70 to 200 millimeter, 1/1000th of a second. There is a very small, she's actually very fast, little Lexi here. And there is a little bit of motion blur in her feet here, but I don't mind that too much if it captures the eyes. And in this case, being lucky enough to capture the nose, it's not too blurry as well. I don't mind a little bit of motion blur in the feet because I feel like it adds to that action feel. So, but yeah, this is a super cute photo of little Lexi. All right, so where do we begin? So what I'm going to do is I feel like the horizon line here, I think we're going to bring it across here like so, and then we'll bring it across this way. So we're going to have the horizon sort of at this level, and to do that I'm going to duplicate the layer here, and we're going to just take this section here around about, we'll actually include the dog, I think. I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to skew it. So I'm going to transform, I'm going to go skew that little section that I've just created. Are you going to work for me? Hello. Edit, transform, and skew. It's not bringing up my little doovalackies. Try again. Alright, now we'll go into skew. And we want to make this straight. That looks pretty straight. So the good thing about this, of what I've just done, is that because I've got this layer underneath, we can now come in and bring a mask over the top, and we're just going to clean up this edge so that we don't have, because we've still got the background, we can clean this up. So I'll just come in, you can see what I'm talking about. We're going to just soften this edge so that it blends in with the area behind. I need to go back up to 100%. We're going to just blend that in and see how it just looks like we've just made this image longer and taller. Just want to make sure I've got no edges along here. And then we want to just fix up this edge along the bottom. We want to take that back, like so. So if we have a look at the before and the after, it's a very minor change, but it does play havoc on your brain. So we've got that now. We can bring that down. I'm going to merge these two together. Merge layers. Okay. So now we can grab this, come over here, and we're going to create a copy of it, and we're going to bring this across. And I think we'll bring this like so, and we're going to quickly mask it off the dog. So we'll mask the dog here, so we'll take this out here, take all this and soften it here. We're going to mask it off the dog here, and then we're just going to come back and fix up this horizon here. What did I just do? Oh, what am I actually? Okay, I'm just bringing this back here for a sec, see what I'm working with. Okay, so come here. Just going to mask it off the dog, and I might just move it across a bit, I think. Bring it back here, because we've got dark behind the dog, so it's going to be easier to mask. Yes, so let's do that. So I'm going to come, you want to choose what's easiest for you, because if you're working on multiple images, you need to make this fast as possible for yourself. All right, that's pretty good. I can even get rid of that section there. That looks good. Make sure that we've got no lines there. We'll fix this horizon thing here. Sorry, my computer is so slow at the moment. So much going on. All right. Okay, that looks good. That's all good over here. Just get rid of the dog on this side, like so. And all right, so let's do a before and after. Make sure that we haven't got any bits sort of just where they shouldn't be. Let's get rid of some of that. Okay, so we got over the dog here that we need to fix. Like so. All right, fit on screen. Looking good. Looking good. All right, so we're going to create a new layer. We need to fix the horizon here. And what I'm going to do, I've got a light color green here, so it's already a little bit like that on the other side, isn't it? Okay. So actually what I'm going to do, because I've got this light color green here, I'm going to capture from over here. So I'm going to come in with my stamping tool. I've got my light green here. I'm going to click on the Alt, show around about here. Just make sure that's captured it, yep. And just going to come down. Just fixing that a little bit. All right, and while we're here, we can come and tidy that up in a minute. Just fix this horizon here. So I'm going to come in and do an Alt, and I want to make sure that it's going to be straight. So here, and we're going to follow this through like so, building this horizon. Lovely. And we just want to clean up these little dots that I've created. All right, so we're going to zoom out, and we're going to capture some area over here and bring it across to here. Whoops, in the stamping tool again. So I'm going to click Alt here, and we're just going to fill in some of this spot here, and come over here again, just fill this in a little bit, like so. And it doesn't look like we've repeated it too much, which is good. I'm actually not entirely happy with this space. So let's just come from here, here, and I'm gonna come back this way. like so. I want that to be darker. I'm going to come back here again. There we go, because that'll be easier to mask the dog out. All right, so we've got that straight line there. Now we have this repeating section up here. So one way that I try to break that up is I'm going to come in and grab something from here, and we're going to sort of create a new tree. Make sure I haven't got the line in there. And we'll come and grab from here, like so. And that helps to break up that repetitiveness. And I feel like we just make this little area over here a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to grab this and take it in the corner here. And we'll grab over here and build it up just there. Looking good. So this is the before and this is the after, and already it's looking so much better. So let's just mask off this area that we've just gone straight over the dog. Is it this one? Yeah. So I'm going to add a mask now. I'm going to come in and we're going to just take this off the dog like so. That's good, good, good. And then just put it back where we need that little dirt section here. Just gently doing that. All right, looking good. So if it on screen. Super. All right. Next up, we're going to clean up a little this area at the back bottom here. So whenever you're doing sort of any type of repair, when you're trying to remove something in the foreground or anywhere really, is because you have your focal plane right throughout, you've got different focal planes. So here you can see that it's in focus and we can see all the detail of the gravel. And here it's out of focus. So if I was to grab something from here, even though it's not in focus, it's still in more focus than the section here. So what you want to think of is keeping it on that horizontal line. So when I take my sample from here, I try to keep it, well, if it grabs it, I try to keep it as horizontal as possible. And now I can essentially go everywhere because it's always capturing that from that horizontal section over here. And now if I go here, I'm going to be grabbing nothing. So I need to just come a little bit closer because that is a little bit lighter here. But I always try to make sure that I keep a horizontal path. And that keeps that focal plane in the correct line. So I don't want to remove everything because then it will start to look unnatural. I'm going to just remove a couple of things like the green little section there. There's a little green one there as well. And there's something green here. And remove this, it's a little bit bold. See, now I went from a light area and it's just made a mistake there, so I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to come in here and just remove this. And then I'm thinking just soften that there. And then I can come in and just remove that little thing that I repeated there by accident. That looks better. Alright. So here this thing has just stood out to me. So we'll remove that. Overall I think that is okay. As I said, I don't want to go over the top because it is a leafy area. If we go and have a look at the original and then after, we've got rid of that, a lot of those sort of areas there. So even if I just do that, you can see that even that alone has made a huge difference in just bringing the focus back towards the dog. I think this leaf is annoying me, so I'm just gonna come in here and soften it You don't have to fully get rid of it. I'm just softening it a little bit. That's in itself. But then I just created a repeat there. So I'm just going to come over here and just soften it that way. All right, and this here is annoying me. And I'm just going to break it up. So I'm not completely getting rid of it, but I'm breaking it up. And that, that's already made a difference. All right, I think that will do, because we're going to soften the background a little bit further. So I'm going to bring all these together and merge them. I've still got my background, my original, in case we ever need to go back to it. I do want to just tidy up the dog's sleep. It's got a little bit of sleepy eye. So bring in a new layer. I'm going to come in with a stamping tool again. And we're going to make a selection from here. Are we? You're going to give me a thank you. I really don't know why I sometimes have trouble getting the selection. It seems to only happen when I'm using my Wacom. Oh, and by the way, if you have not yet invested in some sort of Wacom to be able to not have to use a mouse, it is like the best thing. I've got one like 10 years ago and I'm still using it. It is amazing. I couldn't imagine trying to do a lot of this stuff with just a mouse. All right. Essentially, that is very good. We've done the sort of the fix up stuff. And now let's move on to stylizing it. So I'm going to create a new copy. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and then we're going to go up to filter and the camera raw filter. I'm just going to do a little quick check on something because I feel like this is a little bit blue and then that's too much. So, whoa, we went crazy. Sometimes you have to click around until you get what feels right. And that is not it. Well, that looks better. Let's have a look. What was before? No, definitely. It was golden hour. I'm going to have to do this by eye. It was golden hour, and so the dog actually has the sun glowing on it right now. And we are going for warmer colors anyway. The doggy's mummy, Lexi's mummy, chose warm colors. I think we'll start with that. Yeah, we're going to start with this. So I'm actually going to warm up the green. So I'm going to come down into the color mixer. We are going to go over here and just desaturate it a little bit. I'll be warming it up when I go back into Photoshop. But I just want to desaturate it a little. Okay, that's good. Okay, back to basic. And I want to make sure that I'm happy with my shadows. Yeah, I really want to bring the highlights down so I've got more to work with. Just check how that's all looking. Yeah, that looks much better. Gives me a little bit more to work with when I start adding my stylized effects. It does seem a little bit blue. Come back up again, a bit more warmth. See, there's a bit of blue in the shadows here. Might even add a little bit of purple, a little bit of magenta, I should say. Oh, that's looking good. Okay, that's a really good base. So the next thing to do is we're going to just soften this background just a little bit more. So I'm going to bring in a radial filter, and we'll just bring that as an oval, like so. Put on the mask options. We're going to come into our eraser and erase some areas. Because I typically have a good distance between the dog and the background anyway, I don't have to go over the top, but with making sure that my selection is perfect. And I do not soften it too much anyway, so I actually already have these settings from before, but we'll see if it's a little bit too much. It's not bad, but it feels a little bit too much for this image. So I'm just going to bring it back a little bit. Whoops, I need to select it. Bring it back just a little bit and we'll see how that looks. Yeah, just enough. Just softens it that little bit more without being over the top. All right. Okay, click OK. And so this is the before, this is the after. Super. Okay, next up we have I use actions because it makes things so much faster. A couple of years ago I bought a whole bunch of actions from Greater Than Gatsby and I couldn't highly recommend them. Like, they're amazing. So I have the Innocence and I also have the Painterly, and they've actually just come out with a new one, Fur and Feathers. I'm so used to using the ones that I've got that I don't see, for me personally, the need to go and buy any more for the moment. But a lot of people that have been getting the Fur and Feather, which is currently out, have been going, it's amazing. So if you haven't got any at all and you're into doing pet photography with birds and whatnot, I think it could be something worth investing in. Anyhow, for the moment, I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to do with this one. So to begin with, I'm going to warm up these greens. I'm actually going to bring in my own hue here. I'm going to grab this tool. I'm going to make sure that it's selected the greens here. So it's got the greens. And I have a little recipe that I've created because I've been doing the images like this. A whole selection of images using these trying to achieve the same sort of colors. And so I write the recipe down and then I make modifications based on each photo because light changes and things change. So I'm going to enter in my recipe. So I've got -26 on the saturation, and then I've got -26 in the hues, which is going to warm up those greens. So if we have a look here, it's just sort of taken that blue greeniness out of them. And then my next one is to warm up the whole image. I'm going to be using this Tickle Monster action. I'm going to click play and you're going to go, oh my gosh. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring that right back down to 35%, and it just adds this level of warmth, which is not over the top, but it sort of removes that real coolness from this particular image. And this is the style that this client chose, and so that's, you know, what we're going with, because we want to create all of the images to be of a similar look and feel, but we do need to take it off the doggy. So I've got my mask selected. I'm going to come in and I change the opacity down to around about 50%, and we're going to just remove it a bit. I don't want to completely remove it because I don't want her to look completely cool compared to the background. So we're just removing it a little bit to make sure that we keep those white features. And the other thing too to take into account is obviously that the sun was shining on her as it was setting. So yeah, so she's allowed to be a little bit golden. Okay, now I'm also going to take a little bit off the foreground here so it's not too pink. And I think that looks pretty good. So we've got this really nice and warmed up in the background without it looking too over the top. I like it. Okay, next thing that I'm going to do is sort of lighten up this area behind the dog just a little bit more. It helps to separate it just a tiny bit. So I'm going to come in. This is something that you can easily do. You do not need to have an action for this, but I am using the action because it's quick and easy. And we're just creating a radial filter essentially. So click continue, or a radial gradient fill, I should say. So we're just going to come up and I'm going to move that to here, around about there, and click OK. So you can see that I've added that like that. It's definitely way over the top. So we're going to bring that back to about 50%. I even think I'm going to bring that further, around about 30%. All right, so that looks good. Now, the great thing is because she is a white dog, it makes it so much easier to remove the overlay here. And so I'm going to come in and I need to go back up to 100%. So I do not want to sort of be dulling her eyes or anything like that. So I'm just going to come in and close to her top. And now see, I just want to show you if I accidentally take too much. See how I've created a halo around her? It looks like a shadow, but it's a halo of some sort. So you just come in the other direction. We'll zoom in and come back in, and you just want to slightly go over the edge so that you remove that halo. And it's no big deal to have a little bit of a glow along the edge of the dog, like so. There we go. Okay, I'm going to zoom out, and that's looking pretty good. I like it. I like it. I'm going to just drop it to 25%. Sometimes you just don't know. Very good. Okay, so finally I'm going to come in with the soft pearl, and this is like a matte, and it's just so pretty. It's my favorite. And so it's sort of, if you have a look, it sort of flattens areas that are really, that stand out. And it's good if you're just trying to make your subject really pop. So I'm going to come in and just take it off the dog, like so. And then we're going to drop it to 50%. Okay, love it, love it, and it's really standing out now. And then finally we're going to just do some levels. So I'm going to come in, we need to bring in some depth again, because you want to be careful with all these things that you don't lose your depth. And I'm going to just bring this up a little bit. So that's looking pretty good. So the only thing for me is that when dogs have sort of like this dark area around their mouth and their eyes, I feel like I need to be careful that I don't oversaturate it. So I'm going to just come in and at 50% opacity, I'm going to come in and take some of it off here. And in the eyes too. So I want to keep them bright. And I'll show you what that looks like if we disable the layer mask and we enable it again. Overall, I think it just looks that a little bit better. So there we go. So we've got our depths, but without making the black so deep in the dog. So it looks very similar to this one. So we're going to zoom out on this one and then back to this one. Probably could, if I have a look at this one, I could probably go a little bit bolder here. So let's have a look. Add it just a touch more. And go back here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, everyone, and I gave you a few tips that you can use. And let's have a quick look at before and then after. Isn't that an amazing difference? So yeah, it is. All right, thanks everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.